Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your
how's it going?
boys, Mike and Adam from All Things Paranormal Podcast and Two Brothers Extreme Paranormal, and we are live tonight. And it's our season 2 premiere.
Yeah,
Holy
can you believe
crap!
it?
This is amazing, absolutely amazing. And we have an awesome guest tonight that we're going to bring on.
Yes.
She's an author. She's a paranormal investigator. Ladies and gentlemen, Shrader Hill.
Hi, you guys.
Hey, can you hear us?
Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, we absolutely love having you on. Yep. How's everything going?
So far, so good. So hopefully, computer issues on my end are gone and everything will run smoothly.
Yeah, we had a little issues with ours in the beginning too, but it sounds like that we have.
Well, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, that's normal for us.
Right.
we just go with the flow for everything.
I would like to, before we start, send our thoughts and prayers for everybody in California.
Yes, absolutely.
And pray that everybody that is still there makes it out safe and that it harms no one else.
Yeah, and thank you to the first responders for all the work they do out there, too.
Yes.
They're doing an amazing job. But welcome to the show, and let's let everybody know who you are and what you do.
All right. Shrader Hill. I started writing and got my first book published in 2018. I've only been investigating since 2013, so kind of late to the game, but I'm making up for lost time.
There you go. How many books have you written so far?
So far, 5, and I'm working on 6, 7, and 8 right now.
Oh, wow.
So
wow,
hopefully
That's talented.
This year,
that is.
This year should be a good
That's
one.
Awesome.
The last 14 and a half months were spent working on my illustrator's cookbook. So it took 14 and a half months to get his done, and it's finally out there. And if you're interested in that, it's my Mean Old Grandma's Good Old Cookbook and more. And it's a doozy. It is a doozy. It is 8.5 by 11. And I can't even remember 400 and something pages. There's 1,788 recipes in the darn thing. Plus his story, growing up about his mean grandma and just different things. He's also got funeral food in there. There's a section on funeral food, and there's a section on frozen Charlotte, which is a dessert, but it's also based on the story of a young girl that rode in a carriage to a big festival, a grand ball, and she was too vain to put on a coat in the snow, so she froze to death. And that's where our frozen Charlotte dolls and our China dolls come from. So he's got some recipes about that. He's also got ugly sister recipes, which I will try some of them if someone else cooks them in their house, like haggis, possum. They're just so mean. I'm not cooking. No.
Where does everybody get this book? Because I'm interested.
Yeah, right. So mine and Mark's are all on Amazon, and his just came out. We just fixed his for paperback, hardback, and Kindle edition.
Nice.
My last one I offered in hardback. That's the only one I've got in hardback so far. But they are coming all out in hardback and paperback and Kindle. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, they're actually free. So what better deal is that, right?
Yeah, that is a good.
Everybody go get Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah, start signing up for that limited.
Yeah, at least for a month, and read all of our books, right? And then you don't have to Kindle Unlimited. So yeah.
That's cool. So you said you started the paranormal recently, as in 2013?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Didn't know how to get started. I knew I wanted my own team, but I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know how to um, use any of the instruments. I didn't know how to put together a team. I didn't know what it needed. I didn't know what the different. I didn't know you needed a case manager, an equipment manager, and just different things. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew I liked to watch the TV shows that had them all on there, and like I know, it's nothing like the TV shows. We generally just kind of sit in the dark and say, "Is anybody here? Let us hear some footsteps or something." And we hope to get something, but it's, those shows, they come on and they've got the history for you. They've got, hey, Jenny. Hey. Good to see you. That's a friend of mine over in North Carolina that was involved in all those floods, and they're still having problems over there too. Yeah, so North Carolina.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, North Carolina and
we're
little
all
parts
getting
of
hit
Tennessee,
with something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
weird.
Is
crazy.
Yeah.
We're about to have next week.
They just Sunday night we're supposed to have a good snowstorm.
Negative temperatures.
Yeah, and a snowstorm coming through.
A snowstorm.
Crazy.
And they can't tell what it's going to do.
Well, Jenny and her husband are the coolest people. They own and I'm Jenny, if I say it wrong, I am so sorry. Mystical Mountain Creations, I think, is her name now for their company. And they make these amazing tumblers that keep hot stuff hot and the cold stuff cold. Okay. And it works forever. They're amazing. And they can do any kind of designs. Well, they're actually fixing some for the people in North Carolina as a fundraiser for money for the people up there that need it, because there's a lot of people that still don't have a lot. So her and her husband, Mike, are actually doing that. And they're incredible people.
That's awesome.
If she's still there.
Jeanette.
How do you, where do people go to get one of these to donate?
Yeah, definitely. Jeanette, if you can
share it up here
down below, and we'll put it up so we can help everybody too with that. That'd be amazing. That's one thing about me and Adam. We like helping people out with charities and all that stuff. That's one of the big things we love. We love giving back because everyone gives us so much.
Yeah.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Danny Marie. Rebuild the hollers. Exactly.
All right, rebuild the hollers. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, Jenny, if you can put your Mystical Mountain Creations on there. She's on Facebook. They're on Facebook. They're also on Instagram, and you can check them out. Jenny, if there's any other way you want them to reach out to you, just type that on there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, a link.
Oh, hey, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
What's going on, Rob? Yeah, definitely. If she could send us a link, and then I would also like to post that on our Facebook page after.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
we're all for help.
Really?
We're all for helping people.
I know, right?
So,
and that's what we all need to do.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. Is a lot of people nowadays, they just care about themselves, where they need to learn to care about everybody.
Yeah. It's changed so much now, as from even back 10 years ago. It's like people don't care. They're all about me, and y'all come on, let's get together and help each other.
Yep.
Please.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We need to fix this community. We need to rebuild that community. Everybody needs to come back and start working with each other and get on that good side again.
Mm-hmm.
No drama.
Exactly.
We need to get rid of that.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, no drama. Get rid of all that.
Work together. Amen. Yes, Robert.
Yes, Rob.
Absolutely. 150%.
I'll see. So her
100% goes
Templars,
for the
yeah,
Golden Hollers.
100%.
Cool. That's awesome.
They're amazing.
That's great to know.
Yeah, they're amazing people.
So let's talk about some of the paranormal stuff that you got going on. Have you worked with any teams, or are you doing solo or with your husband or anything like that?
Well, I started Elk Valley Paranormal back in 2014 after I got trained and found out exactly what to do, what equipment was, what I needed, and things like that. So, and I got really involved in the audio. So all the EVPs, I was trying to find all of that. That's what I was listening for. So my first purchase after my digital recorder was a spirit box and a little microphone that went with it. And I took
That's
that
perfect.
thing everywhere and tried to hear everything. And the thing about it, you have people on your team that are better at some things than others. It just I don't know, kind of falls in easier for them. Yep. Or they're just more comfortable doing something or whatever. It seems like I was able to hear some of the voices just a little bit better than others. And I love doing it. So I started that and already had a name for my team, which everything around here is Elk Valley this, Elk Valley that, Elk Valley Times, the newspaper, Elk Valley Trailer, Elk Valley everything. So Elk Valley Paranormal EVP was perfect for me.
That's
and
awesome.
So I started pulling in people that kind of, worked with each other, but brought different aspects to the group. So we've got the co-founder is the biggest skeptic I've ever seen in my life. And he is not so much of a skeptic now because of everything he's seen. So he still is the best debunker I've ever been around. So he can still do that, but he is not as skeptical.
We deal with
as
skeptics all the time.
Right? Well,
we deal with them all the time.
Yeah, and everybody needs to
it's fun for us too.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a guy that actually pulled part of our equipment together or apart because he couldn't believe what was happening in front of him, which was a flashlight. And then we ended up giving him a mini mag, and we ended up giving him the flashlight out of a new package, brand new one, and he still couldn't figure it out. He thought we had something that was doing it or it was malfunctioning. I'm like, no, that's them responding with the flashlight. But it's great when we have skeptics with us. Absolutely.
Even when we host some of these public events and people come that have never paranormal investigated in their life, and they're like, "Did you hear that? Or was it just me?" You know, it's like you like to see that.
We had a lady pretty much jump on our lap up in New Hampshire when the dead bell went off in front of her.
Yeah.
She literally almost fainted. It was their first time. It was their first time on an investigation. They won tickets, and they came. It was the husband and wife and the children.
Their son.
And we put the bell right in the middle of the table, and it went off in front of her, and she just got up and pretty much jumped into her husband's lap, pushed everybody else out of the way.
I love it.
She's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Yep, there you
go." That's the fun
we'll
part.
Be returning to.
Oh yeah,
it's a great place.
So, what kind of places do you have around your area for paranormal?
Down here, the most haunted place down here for me is the old hospital here, the old Fayetteville Hospital, old Lincoln County Hospital in Tennessee.
I've heard of that.
Okay. Yeah, and it's crazy haunted, just crazy haunted. If you'd like to, you guys can go on, and your listeners can go on to elkvalleyparanormal.com and go to the evidence section of the old hospital, pull that down, and you can see some of the things that we caught. There's a couple of videos there. One is on the second floor that's notorious for really weird happenings. and you'll see a true orb. And I know, normally when somebody says orb, everybody goes, "Oh God,"
Yeah, it's dust. It's a
but
bug.
yeah, and I have to. That's one of the things we have to do all the time, and I'm sure you guys do too. Is educate people. They'll send photographs in and say, "Okay, this is what I saw. You see this big orb? I do. It's a big drop of rain or something." And you have to break some hearts, and some get mad at you, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, sure.
You got to tell them the truth. They got to learn. And so, this particular orb, I tell them a true orb has its own light. It has its own path, and if there's a breeze anywhere around, it's not going to go with it. It has its own path. It will do its own thing. And
we've seen that.
Yeah.
Some of them you can actually zoom in and you can actually see the energy inside of them sometimes. So it looks like lightning bolts going off.
Yes. And they don't have to be any particular color. They can be any color. There's also death lights, which are tinier orbs that are seen on that second floor a lot. And I've seen every color up there, from yellow gold to blue to purple to red. It's just crazy on the second floor. But that particular orb comes out of the wall and goes back into a doorway. But the reason it's there is to get your attention on it, so you'll watch it and not watch what's going across the bottom of the floor. So there's actually a little spirit of some kind that shoots across the floor. And I love that. I love that clip. The other clip is of the creeper.
That's awesome.
That's what we've named it. He's everywhere, all over the hospital. And that particular clip is so fast, and he does not want to be seen at all. He does not want to be on camera. He knows he got caught and doesn't like it one bit. So I had to slow down that particular clip, and it took forever to slow it down enough to get a good still of the creeper. So if you go to the evidence section, you can see a still of the creeper right above the video of the creeper. And hopefully
we'll have to check that out. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's a lot of fun up there.
We're going to have to go watch it after the show.
Hell's Bar Dam 2 is not very far from here, and that is a crazy place. It's a lot of, not only because of the dam that was built on native ground and cursed because of it, the dam itself just never was any good. There was always a leak. There was always problems with it. There were deaths, just craziness. When they flooded the area, they flooded cemeteries. And, they try to contact as many people as they can. And there's some that never got back to them. So they flooded, and you can actually see, out on the water, tops of tombstones. And
that's
and they still don't know how many people actually died there. Kids would be going from one side of the dam underground through the tunnels to the other side so they could go to school. So it was it's a weird spot, but I actually caught an EVP that I couldn't figure out. And I asked everybody. It sounded to me like a military cadence. I have a spirit that goes with me just about everywhere. He's a cousin of mine, and he actually died in the Vietnam War. He was gut shot. He shows up everywhere I go, and I think he's he's protective, and he's also interested in what we're doing because he knows that we're talking to spirit. So he kind of shows up to see what's going on. But I even reached out to some vets that I knew. Is this any kind of cadence that you guys used? No, we never heard that. I reached out to anybody I thought would have any idea what it was. Nobody knew anything. I couldn't make out a specific language. It was just, something I couldn't figure out. So I put it on a back burner for about 3 years. Wow. And my friend Mark, who does the covers, the one I was talking about, the cookbook, he actually does all the covers on my books and the illustrations, and he's got his own books as well.
Oh, that's cool.
I was talking, he's a great guy. I was talking to him one night, and we were talking about going back to Hell's Bar Dam and doing some experiments. And I said, I still got that EVP I can't figure out. And he said, oh, send it to me. And so I did. He called me back immediately. Now, what I didn't tell you is the night that I caught it, another guy was with me from my team. Hi, Kent.
Hey, Kent.
That came up with me. Matthew. He was always I always called him the ghost magnet, and things would just happen around him. But Matthew shows up. We were supposed to help with this public hunt and tell them how we did burst sessions, how we tried to hear EVPs, what we did once we got the recordings, things like that. And so during a break, he had gone out front. I think he'd gone to the restroom, and he came back a little bit later. And I was sitting in the dark listening to the burst sessions, trying to hear anything I could hear. And he walked in and stood on the other side of the crossroads, and he said, Sin, are you okay? And I said, yeah. Are you? And he said, come here. And I said, Matthew, what is wrong with you? He said, just come here. So I got up, walked across the 15 to 20 feet in the crossroad section. And he said, turn around and look. And my chair was engulfed in this red fog.
Wow.
It was weird. I didn't know I was sitting there.
That is weird.
Yeah. And as we stood there, it just kind of lifted off of the chair and went back, down the tunnel behind it. We chased it and tried to see, what the heck is that? What is it? It went around the corner and just was gone.
That's crazy. That's
awesome. Oh, man.
Wow.
It showed up again a little bit later. And we tried to see, what in the heck was that? Couldn't figure it out. All right. So 3 years later, I'm talking to Mark. And Mark said, let me hear it. So he calls me. He goes, those are the Indians I've been telling you about, the ones that were there a long time ago, like thousands of years before the white man was even here. They were shorter than normal Native Americans. And he said they actually had like little pie-shaped faces, smush noses. And he said they had black on their eyes, a little bit of red and white. And he said, they're there if there's a red fog. And I went,
wow. Bam.
What?
Wow. Yeah. Right to the T right there.
Yeah. I hadn't told him anything about that. And he said, that's their chant. You got their chant on EVP. It was one of those things.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that makes you go, what did I just witness?
Exactly. And it was like, holy cow, I can't even believe that happened.
Or like I say, what the fuck was that?
No. We had something like that kind of an experience. I was dog sitting for a friend of mine, and we were at this house in Middlefield, Connecticut, and we're out back. And all of a sudden, it was probably about 2:00 in the morning. We were outside with friends that had to take a cigarette smoke.
I literally go, Mike, did you hear that?
And
Yeah, that's normal.
You can literally hear Indian music, the drums, pipes, everything in the distance. And we're like, what is going on? I'm like, this is literally out in the middle of nowhere. There's no houses. There's no parties going on. There's no bars where bands are playing. And it just kept going. You heard the drumming, you heard the piping, and then it stopped.
So
we're like,
we
got our speaker out.
Played it, right? Now, mind you, like Mike said, there's no one around.
Yeah, it's literally, there's no houses, no nothing.
Yeah.
We played it through the speaker. They responded back with the same music.
Same exact music.
And then all of a sudden, you can see these eyes in the outline of their yard past the fence.
Yeah.
And we were like, is that coyotes? But it didn't look like coyotes.
So
it looked like human eyes.
Wow.
Shine the flashlight. Nothing there. Nothing there where the eyes were. And it was probably about, like, I would say a good, like, maybe 10 set of eyes.
Yeah.
Literally looking at us all around.
Yeah. And then later, like, it stopped. And, like, Mike went fuzzy. You know, like, he wasn't there. Like, I could see Mike. And I said, Mike. I said, there's someone sitting next to you. He's like, what? I was like, yeah. It looks like a chief or someone. Like, Mike's tall.
Yep.
I don't know if you see. I'm short. Mike's tall. It towered over Mike by a foot.
I'm 6'4".
Yeah. and that was just the headline. And then whatever was behind him, like, it was amazing. Like,
wow.
My family's from upstate New York, which is all tribal land. And I told Mike, I was like, dude, that was a chief, someone high powered.
Just listening to play the music back, though.
Like, it was amazing.
We just played random Indian music that we found on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And it went right out there, and they responded right back to it every time we changed it.
Same beat,
everything.
Same tone. It was amazing.
And here it is, 3:00 in the morning now, and we're like, there's nobody doing this.
Yeah,
it's impossible. Who's out there banging a drum and playing a flute?
The same way, the same exact tone, the same, like, pattern, the same everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. See, that's the kind of stuff we look for.
This is before we even started
paranormal stuff. We were just hanging out. We didn't even start a team yet.
Yeah.
Oh, you had it?
No.
Nope.
He was dog sitting. He's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm sitting at my house. He goes, come on over. I'm like, all right.
We had a couple friends show up, and next thing you know, we have Indian music being played in the background.
Yeah.
Our own band's playing.
I literally told Mike, I was like, stop fucking with me. He's like, I'm not doing nothing. I was like, well, you know, I know technology, but tell the person that owns the house to stop playing this stuff on their speakers. And he goes,
there's no speakers.
There's no speakers. I was like, there has to be. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
That's the stuff. Amazing. That's why I love doing the paranormal, like being part of the paranormal.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm a big history fan too, so that's the other thing.
I have become a big history fan. You know, back in school, I was terrible. I was bored. And now I love the history part. On the Trail of Tears.
There we go.
You know, a lot of interesting things happen on the Trail of Tears.
Never heard of the trail. I have to check that out.
Yeah, it's quite, you know, it can be sad. It can pull you down, but I went to the Bell Witch Cave last year.
I heard of that. Yep.
It's on the trail.
Oh wow.
And they have Native American burial grounds on that property. So you got the makeshift cabin. So the original cabin is not there, but they've made one to look like it. Mm-hmm. And things happen in that cabin. Things happen in the burial ground. The cave is underneath the burial ground. Crazy things happen in that place. So it was an even bigger night when I got to go because it was full moon And then we had an electrical storm come through.
Perfect.
So, that was charging it.
Yep.
And things just went haywire.
Oh, yeah.
The storm was so bad that it knocked us out of doing anything for an hour and a half. So we had 3 different groups, and I wish I could think of, I think the group that headed it was Black Wolf Paranormal.
Okay.
I hope I said that right. I hope I'm right with that. You're a Shrine. I have got to go to that. I've been talking to a couple of my friends, Austin and them, about that. We've got to go. But that storm was so bad that the people that were in the cave, the group that was in the cave, they were stuck there for an hour and a half.
Wow.
Couldn't get out. But when they did get out, one of my buddies, thank you, Todd and
yes.
Leanne.
Yes. The Black Wolf.
That's exactly who put it on.
Good job, Rob.
They were so sweet. But so anyway, the guy that was sitting next to me, Lee, he was helping.
Hey, Denise.
There's Denise. Hey, Denise. And he comes up and he's looking on his cell that he had taken some video. And he goes, Sin, look at this. And I looked over at it, and I said, what was that went behind her? He said, that's what I want to know. What do you think it is? It's a shadow, but it's an animal. I said, unless you had somebody crawling. But he said, no, that was above where anybody else was standing. And what it was, and I haven't seen him post it yet. And why? I do not know, because it's an incredible piece of evidence. It is Regina Weaver Blatt is talking to the group down there. Lee Pig is the one that's videoing. And you see this shadow go behind her head, above her, on the back of the cave wall.
Oh, boy.
And we kept watching it. I said, Lee, that's a wolf. It's a wolf. And he goes, oh my God, you're right. And we found out that one of the things that the Bell Witch was known for was being seen as wolf figures.
Wow. That's really cool.
Oh my gosh. But it's all Native American stuff too. So it's, if you guys ever get to go to Bell Witch Cave, it is worth it.
Yeah. Road trip.
Try to go on a stormy night and, full moon and all that kind of stuff, because it'll ramp it up even more.
Is it drivable, or you got to try to get me on a plane again?
Yeah, I got to try to get him on a plane. He doesn't fly. We drive everywhere.
Well,
those 16-hour drives that can be turned into 3.
But if you can take enough time, there's a lot to see in between those.
Hey, Gordon. Yeah, that is true. There is a lot of places on the way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How much research does...
We got a question here.
Rob, how much
research do I do before I write? Well, so my third book was supposed to be my first one, and I couldn't figure out how I wanted to do it. And this is going to be a long answer. I'm sorry, but and if it's too long, just shut me up. Just tell me to shut up.
You're good.
Okay.
Not a problem at all. Go for it. This is your show.
Okay. I could not figure out how to do what I wanted to with this, because it was all of my favorite EVPs I'd gotten at my favorite investigations over the years, or since 2013. So I wanted people to be able to listen to EVPs of them. Have to I got my first book out, which was just talking about some of my investigations and some weird things that had happened to me growing up and some of my friends around this area. That first book is mostly Lincoln County, where I live. And the second book, Mark and I, my illustrator, decided to write a fiction book just to see if we could do it. So that's the only fiction book we've got. And then I finally figured out how to do this third book of EVP. So if you have the book, reading through it, remember Kindle. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. But as you're going through that book, you can go to elkvalleyparanormal.com to the evidence section. There's a drop-down menu. Click on their speaking, and you can listen to all the EVPs in the book.
Cool. That's cool.
So that got done. As far as research, it depends on the location. Sometimes I like to just go in cold.
Yep,
not
that's
know
what we do.
anything about
we like to do
anything.
the same thing. We used to do that back in the day. We used to do the history before we go on location, and then we find out it was better not knowing.
Yeah.
Going
Sometimes
in with an open mind.
Yeah. Sometimes.
We've got disappointed because we research everything, the history, we research what has happened there, and then we go there and it's like, why isn't this happening?
Yeah.
Why isn't this we're not connecting with these people. We're not connecting with this. So I told Mike, I was like,
no more. No. All open-minded.
Let's go in.
And I guess my the stories that I write about are exactly the experience that I'm having at that time. You know, the EVPs I got at that investigation, and what we all felt, what was said, who was there, what happened, any of the weirdness. You know, that's what I like to write about. My fourth book is completely different. And God kind of put that in my lap and said, you need to write a book about signs from our loved ones after they've passed. I didn't have a lot. I mean, I lost my dad in 2001 and my grandmother a couple of years later. My mom has heard my dad taking a shower. She has heard him, doing a couple of different things around the house, footsteps. She's heard my grandmother walking in the kitchen, which was her domain. The kitchen was her domain. And she has experienced that. I haven't experienced anything from my dad or my grandmother. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get this book together, but evidently I'm supposed to write it. It's, now it's in my head. Now I got to write it. So I put a feeler out on Facebook and said that I was looking for anything related to signs from our loved ones, whether or not, you've got pennies from heaven, feathers, the scent, a special scent, cologne, perfume, or something. Even the smell of a cigar or cigarette that they smoked all the time. Or a favorite song comes on the radio at specific times. A picture of them pops out of nowhere. Those kind of signs. And then there's all the dreams and visions that you might have of your loved ones coming back to say hello or warn you about something. Yeah.
It's like they're letting us know they're okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I also said, if you've got near-death experiences, let me know. So all of a sudden I had whoosh, all these stories come in, and I was like, well, there's the book. I can write.
Plus a couple others.
Right? But here's where it got bad. So I started writing that in 2020, and then all hell broke loose with COVID. And, everybody lost their motivation for everything. I lost mine. I didn't get it back the next year. 2021. So 2022, here we go. A friend of mine where I get my sage and my crystals, Valerie, Young Vintage Antiques on the Square in Fayetteville. She said, "How's the book coming?" It's not. It's just not. And she said, "Get it going. It's time. You've got to write this." And I said, "Well, I know. I just can't." When were you supposed to get it out? Easter of 2020 and then Easter of 2021. And she said, "It's a month before Easter." And I said, "I can't write it in a month, Valerie." And she said, "Do it. Do it." So she gave me the kick I needed. And over the next week and a half, I banged out 17 stories. So boom, boom, boom. And mind you, wow. I write short stories. So we're not talking about long, some of them are a page that, and some of them are 5 pages. They're all different. So I was back. Okay, now I'm going to get this book done this year. It wasn't a little over a month. And we lost my baby. We lost my nephew.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
He was only 19 and a half years old. I was training him to be my videographer in Elk Valley Paranormal. And I'd made him wait. If I'd known, I wouldn't have made him wait. But I made him wait until he was 18 years old before he would hunt with me. And, it was just, he was an only child. My sister had been told when she was 16, she would never have kids, ever. She could get pregnant, but she could not carry a child to term. So 5 miscarriages later, wow. Wyatt stuck. And Wyatt was our miracle baby. So I never had kids. I never had him. So I always thanked her for having him for me because he was my mini-me. He was this ham in front of a camera like I am. He loves murder mysteries like I do. He loves horror stories. He loves all the kind of stuff I do. And my husband really doesn't care for. So Wyatt would go with me on all these things. And we would have a blast together. And then 19 and a half, and he's gone. So
way too young. Way too young.
Yeah. And so I lost my motivation again. And we had to get past the funeral and, just had to learn a new normal. And, what is it? What is a new normal even? It's
I totally get that. It's not easy. That rebound is not easy at all.
No,
and it's with being a new dad, it's my biggest fear.
It's never going to be the same. It's never going to be like you want it. And he was my baby. He was my baby. So anyway, he almost immediately started showing himself. And one of the things he did was after the funeral, Susan my sister decided to shut his bedroom door. It was just her and him. And he was working 2 jobs and going to college and giving her money to help pay for utilities and stuff. He was just a good kid. Mm-hmm. And always busy, always helping people. And the most talented guy I've ever met in my life. He would warm up to Metallica Fade to Black so he could play the Star Spangled Banner or Jimi Hendrix.
Oh man, that's cool.
He was such a cool kid. Man, he was such a cool kid. And anyway, she closed his door. So when she did open it, she could go inside and still smell him. Mm-hmm. And have his room exactly the way he left it. Yeah. So that's what she did. Turn his lights off. Conserving energy, single person, living on your own, having to watch bills and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, she turned his lights off. And later that night, she decided to go to get some water out of the kitchen, and she was coming in next to his room, and the dog and the cat were sitting in front of his door, his shut door, just sitting there. And she thought, what in the world? And then she realized that the light was coming underneath the door.
Oh, wow.
That she had turned off.
Yeah.
And so she opened the door and saw that, yep, the light was turned back on. And the funny part about one of those lights is that it was a 3-way switch. You had to turn it 3 times to brighter. Well, they didn't have a 3-way bulb in it. They only had a 1-way bulb in it. So you'd have to go click, click, click to make it turn on. That's the one he would turn on most.
Wow. Yeah, so he was letting her know, I'm here.
Yep. I mean, just different things like that. He showed up in a couple of dreams, visions that she had. And he showed up with my mom by messing with her Kindle. She would have the Kindle out in front of her, drinking her coffee, reading. And when she'd get to the next page, she'd reach over and tap it and go to the next page. Well, she'd be drinking her coffee, looking at it, and all of a sudden the thing would flip over a couple of chapters and then roll right back to where she was.
Wow.
And
that gave me the chills.
The first time it happened, she said, Sin, we got to get another Kindle. This one's not working. And I said, we just got it. It's like, what, 2, maybe 3 weeks old? It's not old, Mama. Well, something's wrong with it. And I said, why? What's it doing? And she said, it's rolling over a few chapters and it's coming back. I don't know. It's done that a few times. And I said, wait a minute. It comes back. Are you touching it? No, I'm not touching it. I'm drinking my coffee. If I'm ready to turn a page, I tap it. I said, okay, but you're not touching it. No, I'm drinking my coffee. And I said, okay. But it rolls back to where you were? Yes, exactly what I was reading. I said, wonder who that could be. And she goes, is that my baby? And I said, I kind of think it is, Mama. I kind of think it is. And she said, oh my God. She said, I was saying we had to get a new one. We're never getting rid of this one ever. No. And I said, I think maybe he's just trying to make you smile because we've been so sad.
Yeah.
And I said, so next time it happens, just talk to him.
I feel like that's the most when they like to show themselves. If it's dreams, if it's little signs, it's always when you're thinking of them or you're down and out about it or upset about something. They always like to know, hey, listen, I'm okay. I'm here. Yeah. Everything's good.
That happens to me a lot.
Yeah.
So so that's the story. Wyatt's story. I finally figured out. That's why I lost my motivation. Wyatt's story was supposed to be in there. So his story is the first one in that book.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Was awesome. That's awesome.
My baby.
Stuff like that happens. So happens to me. My son's room is the room that my best friend had passed away in my house. And our new light and fan in the room is controlled by a remote. The switch does nothing for it. Okay. And the funny thing is I've gone in the room and the light's on And I'm like, all right, maybe it's the batteries, but the switch on the wall is turned. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'll flick the switch, it does nothing. I'll turn the light off, and it's like, how is that happening?
Like, someone's letting you know.
The light, the fan, it's all in one. It's a fan and a light, and it turns on by a remote. So how is the switch controlling any of that?
Right. See, I think too, it's easier for them, since they are energy, to manipulate electronics through the energy that way. And, maybe that's why so many strange things like that happen. The fan and the light, the Kindle, the, whatever.
That's their way to power up too. Any batteries, any kind of electric, that's power up for them. Let's mess with everything. Let's have fun.
Even my the room that my mom stayed in the other side of the house, like that still has to pull a cord to turn a light on or the fan, and I'll go over there, and I'm like, no one's been over here in 3 weeks. How's the light on?
And it's on?
Yeah, the light's on. And I'll pull the cord, it turns the light off, but I'm like, wait, you have to click.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they can do.
Yeah. That's why my mini mag is my favorite piece of equipment.
Yep.
Speaking of which, what's your favorite piece of equipment?
It's still the spirit box.
Yeah, I was gonna say the spirit box.
Yeah, it still is. It still is. I do not go without my digital recorder though. Got to have that. That's digital
my favorite.
Recorder. Or two. I used to keep one running the entire time.
Oh boy,
that got old.
Yeah.
So
I love those. I love those days of listening back to 4 hours of live recordings.
Yeah, hoping you got something, and but I do more burst sessions now. 30 seconds or something like that. Every once in a while, I'll do a minute, but I don't like to go more than that, and just see what happens. So, hello,
Manchester.
We got a lot of people in tonight.
Yeah,
Manchester.
Got a lot of people coming in.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Got a lot of good people. Hey, everybody. There's Leanne.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Nice.
If anyone has any questions, feel free.
Yes.
But I just want to thank you so much for coming on tonight and sharing your stories with us.
Absolutely.
We're actually getting towards the end of our show. Thank you again to everybody stopping in and commenting and watching tonight. Let's shoot out. Where can your books be purchased that you have written already?
They're on Amazon. Look for Shrader Hill, and there's 5. Hi, Leanne. There's 5 right now. This year, look for 6 and 7 at least. So there's going to be a second science book coming out. Nice. And I also had so many people reach out after that first book came out that said, I've got a story for you. So the second book just kind of popped together. But
it's amazing how that works, right?
Yeah. And I had a lot more of near-death experiences come out. So I decided to split those books in half. And there's going to be a near-death experience book along with angel rescues and spirit warnings. That's going to be one book. And the other book is going to be signs from our loved ones. That includes the dreams and the visions and the seeing someone come back, or, pennies and feathers and all that good stuff. If anyone is interested in sending in a story to me to include in any of these books, I would be more than happy to read your story. You can send it to SendShraderHillAuthor gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Reach out to me. Also look at elkvalleyparanormal.com at the evidence and the just the about section. So just find out.
They have a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff from what she was explaining to. I think we'll be doing some. We'll be checking it out afterwards.
Yeah,
awesome.
We got some bucket list locations to go to now.
Who knows? I might just send in a story.
There you go. Maybe you have a story.
Yeah. I had that.
Yeah.
Dream. I had that dream.
Absolutely. If anybody, any of you guys listening in the chat, of course, you guys that are actually let me come on your show and talk to you. If you've got a story, send it to me, and I'd be more than happy to put it in.
There you go. Sounds awesome. Well, thank you so much, and have a good night. And I'm sure we'll talk to you soon. Maybe see you sometime down the road.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Right. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem at all. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
All right, guys. I'm going to take this real quick because I know Mike was about to say something. But I want to thank you guys for amazing first season. Amazing start to the second season. I mean, that was a great episode. Go check out our books. And again, I want to send my prayers and thoughts to California, to the south from the floods in the past year. And remember, everybody, it only takes 1 second to be kind.
Yes, absolutely.
And care.
We love you all. Yes. We need to get this community back together. Forget the drama. We love you guys.
Yes.
Let's move forward. Let's get the paranormal community back up and running the way it used to be. Now, there's one more thing I want to mention. Our next episode, Friday, February 21st, it's our 1 year anniversary show.
That?
1 year.
Let me rephrase that. Can you believe that shit?
I know. So
1 year.
We're going to have some amazing guests stop in throughout the night. And we hope you guys join us. And thank you all so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
We love you.
It's been amazing.
Yes.
And we love you beyond belief. You know, we can't say it enough.
No. We'll always say
I mean, through the paranormal, like two brothers, all the love we've got to our podcast that we said, hey, let's start a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
We love the love.
Yes. So on that note, everyone have a great weekend.
Yes.
Stay safe. Have fun. If you're going out investigating this weekend, kick ass.
Yes.
We'll talk to you all soon.
And we'll see you soon.
All right, guys.